Welcome back, everyone, to the Father Son Talk Sports Show. This your boy Paul here with Dad to me, Paul to you.
Hey everybody.
Hey, what's going on, Pop? How you feeling, man?
Man, I'm good, man. What about yourself, man?
Taking it easy, taking it easy. Had a pretty good day today. Got my run in. I got to get my 3 miles in at least. Was able to, work on the book a little bit. So, and then we did some prep work for this show. I'm just trying to, do the best job that we can, like you always said, putting in that work. You know what I'm saying?
No effort, you don't get nothing. It's just that simple.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, here you had time to go get you a fresh cut, man. Looking good over there, man.
Man, thanks, man. Thanks,
You know what I'm
thanks.
saying? So Kev did his thing. If I
Oh
had some
yeah.
hair, I would go see Kev, but I can't go see Kev without no hair, man.
Man, listen, man. I'm not far behind you, son, so don't worry about it. Pretty soon I won't need it either.
Hey, hey, Dad. No, no, it's crazy. So you say like it's like a work in progress, huh? It's working.
What
Oh,
you think? It's a
I,
work in progress, baby.
I see. I see it. Hey, so how's he doing? How Kev doing, man?
Man, he was doing good, man.
Just in case
Everything.
everybody know, Kev's our barber. He cuts my dad's hair sometimes at the shop, sometimes at the house. But Dad said he get the best cuts at the shop. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so you had to make it.
Absolutely. Perfect
I
lighting
told
and
him that.
everything.
I told him that in person too. So I don't feel bad. I said, yeah, Dad said you do your best work at the shop.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. See? Check it.
I
I'm
know.
just,
I mean, like I said, I mean, here. So, I mean, results speak for themselves. Results speak for themselves. He was talking about coming through one of these weeks and putting some steaks on the grill. So I said, okay, well, steaks. He was like, "So y'all coming through?" I said, "Yeah, we'll make it through. I'll find a way to get Sean out there." He was like, "All right, because I'm gonna put some steaks on the grill." He said, "That's gonna be good." I said, "Okay, all
oh
right."
yeah. We've been talking about putting some tomahawk
Yeah,
steaks on
that's what
for
he
a
said.
while.
Tomahawk. Yeah.
So yeah, I look forward to that. My birthday is coming up too, so a tomahawk is never bad for a birthday.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm just saying.
And then here, I mean, so you ain't talked about your birthday much though. You ain't told me what you would
Son,
want.
when you start getting my age, son, you don't talk about birthdays very much, man.
You just won't take it. Just take it as it comes. Take it as
You
it.
just take it as it comes, baby. That's all I can say, man. That's it.
Well, I mean, I think me and Mom we got some tricks up our sleeves, something that we could do that you would like. So you check some stuff out later
Oh,
on.
yo, you all always have something up your sleeve, so I know it. I believe me, I already know something.
I mean, I hear. I think it'll work. I really do. I think it'll work. I think you'll like it. Um,
Okay.
it should all work together. But we have been working. We actually had at Dizzle's birthday. Oh, Dizzle's my sister, by the way. Just in case anybody knows, her name is Kayla, but I've always called her Dizzle. I call her Dizzle since she was born.
Born.
Yeah, I've always called her Dizzle. It just is what it is. But at her birthday dinner, we actually had kind of a little bit of a meeting about the show that we're going to present today. We were pretty excited about it, but it is titled Sports Culture Divide." So among everybody, sports culture divide, we're kind of at a crossroads, and that's what we were thinking, Dad, when we came up with this show. You want to explain your title a little bit because you kind of pioneered that title, just so that we could try to figure out exactly what we mean.
Well, actually, when I coined or we coined that headline, it had to do with an actual divide that needs to take place or that is. What I mean by that is that when you make it in professional sports, you have to make a divide between where you came from, some of the people that were associated with it, the culture and the way that you have to deal with life and to deal with social media, especially in the social media realm. I mean, it's different, and it's a culture shock to a lot of African Americans or to a lot of people, period, because you have to change the way that you behave, and the way that your life, or the way that you absorb culture, or our culture, your culture.
Yeah.
So it's a divide between that and having to keep yourself together, where you can market yourself and that you can actually explore brand new avenues. But if you can't get the culture out of it, or to divide your time, I always call it like knowing what time of day it is. Because in every profession, I don't care what you're doing, you have to divide, and you have got to know what time of day it is, so that you drop the urbanics, or you drop certain things that are innate in your culture when it comes to the vocabulary or actions or whatever, and you know what time of day it is, where you have to put on a different hat.
So
That's the
but here,
divide that I'm
so are
talking
you
about.
saying that I say we, but just our culture in general, are you saying that we have to conform to the corporate culture in every aspect? I mean, not just professional sports, but I'm talking about, in the business room, everywhere. Is that something that we just have to conform to, where we have to change the way, like you said, ebonics, like the way we speak? We got to change the things that we do, change the people that we hang around. So is that like innately saying that what we or what our culture does is wrong, or is it just saying that it's not accepted?
No, it's not saying that our culture is wrong or our culture is bad. And I don't even really think that taking it down the racial lines is the all in all either, because even in Caucasian or other cultures, there's certain vernacular or certain actions or certain parts of the culture that it doesn't tend it, or it does not, how would I say it's not mainstream, because there's a mainstream American way that you have to present yourself, a mainstream American way that you have to talk, a mainstream American way that you should probably even look, as far as your appearance or your dress. And it's different than wearing the cowboy boots that some Caucasians might do on a ranch. There's a time of day for everything. So, and it is a divide, especially I'm an inner city kid. I come from inner city Cleveland, Ohio. And as I grew up and I started going into the workforce and I went into the service, there were certain things that I had to leave behind, or I had to divide out of that space.
Okay.
Because it was no way for me to take the inner city into the workplace, or the boardroom, or the office.
Okay.
There was no way that I was going to take my vernacular to the military, where the military has all races of all type of people in it that absorbed into the military. But yet there was only a certain way. I had to divide. I had to take out a certain amount of the vernacular that I used on the streets that was improper for use in that setting. That's what I mean by time of day. You got to know where you're at. You got to know what time of day it is.
Yeah.
And that's what that means.
I mean, I can see that. I can understand that. But so, how does that translate over to the situation that Ja Morant finds himself in? Not being available right now to the Grizzlies for obvious reasons. Everyone has read the story about him brandishing a gun on a Instagram live video late at night. After after a club or anything like that. So So how does that necessarily apply to him? So are you basically saying that everything that he thinks is cool because he's young? I mean, we've all been young before. He's young. Everything that he thinks is cool is not acceptable at the level he's at right now because he's at a level where he's in position to make major money. He has a shoe branded after him, and so he can't take that mentality to where he's going. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. I mean, there's no way that he can take. First of all, he is in a position that is completely different than anything that I've ever been through. I mean, he's already worth over $200 million. He has he has an opportunity to produce and to make generational wealth for his kids and his kids' kids and his grandkids' kids. He has an opportunity and he has a forum that's huge where you have young kids, African American, or whatever, that look up to him. He has a huge forum in this country. Mm-hmm. The NBA is a huge business. The NBA expects for you not to hurt that brand in any way. And he has to understand that. I can imagine what the first thing I thought about when I heard this story was I thought about my kids and that they were blessed with an opportunity like that. But yet they still didn't understand how they had to adhere to the wealth or to where they are in society. What I mean by that is if my son made a video and he projected it on Instagram to the country with a firearm in a nightclub, there would be no limits to what I would say. As a matter of fact, I don't even know the words that would come out my mouth, but I would be so upset because he's putting himself down in a way that's completely disrespectful to the way that he's been raised.
Well, I would be upset. Yeah, but in my sense, you can say that. But what I'm saying is that in his sense, I mean, we don't know how he was raised. We don't know what type of upbringing he had. I mean, obviously, just looking at it, I could see like his father has some of the same mentalities as he portrays. So all I'm saying is that sometimes you become a subject to what you're around, what you're subjected to. So at the end of the day, I mean, if this is what he sees, it's kind of hard for him to break free. So, I mean, the first thing I thought of was like a player like LeBron James and how he surrounded himself, or he was surrounded with the right people right out of the gate so that he wasn't under the gun. I mean, he had people that had his back that, took him to this place and made sure that he was safe and made sure that all this stuff was protected because he was, as my coworker Gene says, he was the money. You have to always protect the money. Like how are you going to be surrounded by friends that don't protect the money? You know what I'm saying? So what he did was obviously it was stupid. And what he did, but he's young. He's looking at what is cool right now, but that's not ultimately what's going to take him to where he wants to go. But being young, you can't necessarily see that. That's the reason why a lot of stuff gets done later in life, because like even like as I age, I'm able to look at things through a different lens than I did when I was younger. Just because I have perspective. I can look back and say, okay, well, you shouldn't do that, or you shouldn't say that. But when you're young, I mean, you've been young before, obviously. You don't, that doesn't just come out naturally. I mean, when you're young, unless you have those people around you, like you were always there to tell me, okay, Paul, go this way, go that way, do this. But if you weren't there, then that means that I had to make my own mistakes. just like you had to make your own mistakes because you weren't necessarily as close. You see what I'm saying? Like you didn't have somebody tell you to go left, tell you to go right. Don't do this. Don't say that. So you had to figure that out by yourself. You see what I'm saying? Versus me getting the benefit of you having to have hit your head a couple times, and then me having the benefit of having to hit my head a couple times. I could tell Paul. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's all perspective, but it just sucks from a future earnings perspective. Because when I thought about it, it comes down to not just the earnings that he can get on a generational level through the NBA, but at any job that he was at any high level, high ranking job, like we talk about a lot of times. We talk about my job. We talk about any job where you get to the top. I couldn't do the things that he just did. I couldn't even do them because there would
Right.
be blowback. There would be blowback, but there needs to be somebody to tell me that there would be blowback. Unless I'm in the right circle or I have the right leader, then that's not possible. And I think that that's something that was kind of hard for me to swallow.
I know. I think his father's name is T,
Yeah.
and I remember watching a basketball game. It was against, I think, the Lakers, and he had gotten to a serious argument with Shannon Sharp,
Yeah. Not smart.
and it was absolutely it was out of place. It wasn't smart. It it spoke to that type of upbringing or that type of environment, that type of culture.
Yeah.
Right. And see, that's something that cannot be that cannot continue.
Yeah, but it's prevalent though, and I wouldn't just break it down as just say our culture, but I mean most of the music that we listen to, rap music. I'm talking about young youth, young black youth. That's what we listen to, and that behavior is prevalent in the verbiage of those songs. You see what I'm saying? That's what's cool. That's just what. Oh yeah, this is what we do. But those are just lyrics. They're just talking. They're not actually doing those things. You know what I'm saying? But you get to a point where you got millions of dollars, you're 24, 23, and you take it literal because I mean it's just so cool. Because I couldn't imagine having $1 million and just being able to interpret a song that I think is cool in the real world with that type of wealth. I mean, here because you only could take the song as far as your money goes. You know what I'm saying? However long your money is how literal you could take that song. You don't typically take that song out far, like you could do everything if you have limitations when it comes to money. He doesn't have any limitation when it comes to that, so that means that you don't have the respect that you need for people because why would you have it? Like I said, you're a millionaire. You have just about everything that you want. So therefore, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't lend itself to that type of attitude, from him. I think that what that rap culture is part of what really makes it difficult for him to really. Then that's what he said. He struggles because that's what you listen to, that's what you consume, that's what you become. You know what I'm saying? And especially if you have no limitations when it comes to money, then you just really become it because the lyrics that you are rapping, you are living.
Right. And he can't afford to live that life.
No,
His
no,
life,
yeah, not to get to where he want to go.
no. I mean, he just can't because there's no need in propagating it over and over again. I mean, we can look at Biggie Smalls, we can look at Tupac as an example of where that culture came into play and became deadly. Because we're actually, in some ways, talking about life and death. Think of it this way: if I was sitting up and I was beefing with John Morant in any way, and I sit up and watch him post a video on Instagram where
Mhm.
he's where he's brandishing a weapon, there's no need for me to get in an argument with him. There's no need for me to try to fight him because I know a weapon is already part of that encounter.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's nothing positive that could come out of that video. There's nothing positive.
Yeah, well, but what I'm saying is that when you're young, you're not thinking about that. You're just thinking about when you're young. I'm trying to use it in my terms, but when I'm young, when you're young, all you care about was what is cool. This is cool. This looks cool. This will come across as cool. Then, and you would operate based off of that. Whatever blowback you get, you just react to it. You know what I'm saying? But you're not thinking about whether this is sound or not out the gate. That's just not what you do when you have youth on your side. When you're that young and you have that transcendent ability, that's just what you do. That's just who you are. You know what I'm saying? But if that's what your background is, but I don't even think it's necessarily background. I think it's really who you surround yourself with. Because, like I said, LeBron came from the hardest of upbringings. I mean, he didn't have a silver spoon or anything like that, but he was always at every level surrounded by the right people to get the things done that he needed to get done, so that he could become LeBron James.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? John Morant is just surrounded by people that think that this is cool. Okay, yeah, do this. Now he got blowback, so obviously he has to course correct. In order to continue, you must course correct, and that's what he's doing right now. And I hope that he's successful at doing it, because it's unfortunate. It's a youth thing. I mean, he's so young, but I mean, obviously the right leaders aren't telling him what to do, and they're not leading him to success. They're leading him. He's the money. Like Gene said, he's the money, and they're not protecting the money. Whoever
Well, I
is
mean,
advising him.
I don't even necessarily look at it in monetized terms. I'm just talking about his life. Period. I mean, this could be really truly. It's either going to be a learning moment for him, where someone is going to take him to the side and explain this to him, because this is a life lesson. Okay, no, regardless if you got $50,000 or $100 million, that is just something that you cannot do. But in his situation, he has all of the resources of the NBA, that if he went back to the NBA and to their security force, they would handle anyone that has a problem with him. He has to surround himself with people that are willing to protect him and that will protect him. The last thing that he should ever have to worry about is a physical or a life and death encounter like that. He has to understand that he has enough money where if he wants to kick it and he wants to party, he can do it. He can sort of make his own party or whatever he wants. He can have it at his crib. He can have it wherever, VIP, you name it. But you cannot do what he's doing, because he's going down a road that's going to lead ultimately to imprisonment or something very, very negative.
He definitely has to course correct, and I think that he's going to be in the process of doing that. I just hope that his leaders, the people that are around him, are able to see it. So it's not just a John Morant thing; it's his circle thing. His father needs to look at this. Every one of his friends that's all around him, just like the people that surrounded LeBron, need to look at themselves in the mirror and understand that he is the money, and he's only going to go as far as his circle allows him to go. So with that said, we're going to take a quick break, man. We're going to take a 30-second break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to speak about Jalen Carter and what he's going through right now.
Sure.
Hey guys, welcome back to the show. So we were talking about Jay.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you. Hmm. Hmm. Uh, I, I can't hear anything. Can you hear me? Can you hear me at all?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. I don't know why it automatically switched from the microphone. But again, those are just kinks to move, kinks to work out. You know,
Absolutely.
you gotta work it out, and those things we will ultimately address and make sure that it's better. Um, and we will do better. So I think the problem is in those transitions. I think when we transition back and forth, it is transitioning the mic in some ways back and forth. Um, so I think that is what that is. Let's go back here. No, just trying to get that. I don't know, but you know what I want to do. The main thing I want to do is I want to finish out what we're doing on the live, because I think what happened is the audio settings from Audition are messing with the audio settings from Restream. So what I'll do is I'll just use my laptop for future reference, just to get the audio off for the podcast. But in this term, though, I'll take the video from this and put it into Premiere, separate the audio from the video, and it'll be the same thing. Then I can
Okay.
put the audio back into Premiere or back into Audition, which is what I should do anyway. And then I could just edit the vocals up and it'll be all done. So I ain't gonna really worry about that. So you can hear me now. We're still on. We're still doing that. So let's just redo this bit real quick. And just take another 30 seconds real quick and then come back and just do it again right on the stream. All right. 1 second.
Okay.
Welcome back, guys, to the show. So Dad, welcome back. Welcome back, guys. We're just going to look at the situation that's going on with Jalen Carter And I think one of the things, outside of Georgia and Ohio State, it's a serious matter going on down there, because we have another athlete, prominent to be athlete, collegiate prominent athlete that's about to be make some major waves in the NFL. That's coming under some scrutiny, and obviously, at the loss of lives. I mean, it's never a good thing when we talk about something like that. So, Dad, what did you think about that Jalen Carter situation when you heard about it? How did it kind of go over from there?
Well, first of all, if you want to just address Jalen Carter and what happened there, he should have never left the scene of the accident. Period. It's really truly unfortunate that two people lost their lives. I know it's been rumored that alcohol or drug abuse wasn't involved in it, and were kids out basically being kids, being young people, out racing vehicles and whatever, and Kirby Smart, it came out, the coach of Georgia, to say that this isn't a systemic problem. This was basically just kids, just out messing around, and it's just unfortunate. And this is another example of another athlete, African American athlete,
Hmm.
um, not being cognizant of exactly where he is in life, not being able to see the future, and all the riches and all of the popularity and everything that's right straight in front of him. It's part of a culture too. I was in the hood the other day, and I was at Lee and Harvard here in Cleveland, and they had the ATVs. They were racing them up and down the street, fast and furious. And it's just troublesome, to see a young man, go through so much at a young age. And I hate to say it, but it was actually because of the choices that he made.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
God bless him.
yeah, I mean, here, and the main thing I got from it, I had a lot of conversations with people, older people, young people, all people in between. And they all talked about, oh, that was so stupid. How can you gonna do that? You about to be the number one draft pick. I don't understand how you did that. But if we all look back through that mirror, looking backwards at our lives, we all did some crazy stuff that was a couple of seconds away or a couple of inches away from being tragic. I mean, it just was. I mean, it was just, God's will that it didn't happen that way. But ultimately, we were all fortunate. I mean, it just in his case, I mean, it was unfortunate that it actually did happen and something like that. Like I said, something tragic happened. But I remember when I was 20 something driving cars faster than they're supposed to go, racing cars, in the street, doing things that you ain't got no business doing. But at the same time, like I said, it's God's will, nothing happened. But in this case, something did happen. So I mean, obviously the kid's young. I mean, there's more than enough time for him to recuperate. The only thing, like you said, that I was really taken aback by, that I really kind of thought that he could have did a better job of, like I said, was telling the truth to the police and staying at the scene and not leaving. Because when you leave the scene like that, that's a sign of, like I said, he feared, like he saw what was in front of him and he just saw it like vaporize. So he was like, man, I gotta go. But that's never the right decision when something like that happens. You know what I'm saying? And if I was an NFL team, that would be my line of questioning to him. Not the mistake, because anybody could have made the mistake, but how you rectified the mistake. You thought that it was a good idea to mislead the cops. You thought it was a good idea to leave. You thought that was going to somehow absolve you of the situation, and that's where I think that I have a problem. Not necessarily with the action, because like I said, we all can make the action, but it was with how he dealt with it in the immediate aftermath of that mistake.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it. He had a teammate that died, and then another team staffer that died in that accident. Those were the two individuals that perished, and I would think that if I got into an accident, I would check to see the condition of the people that were in the vehicle or the people that were in the accident, period. And see, I'm not sure that took place.
Well, it didn't take place. If he wasn't there, it couldn't have took
Well,
place. I
but
mean,
see,
we weren't
that's
there.
why it leaves it to be unexplainable in a lot of ways. I understand. Well, okay. Let me summarize it this way too. We understand that these are young men.
Yeah.
John Morant, Jalen Carter, you name it. These are young men.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they are. But they're also adults.
Yeah. But young,
So there's a certain amount of culpability.
but young adults though, they're not old adults. You know, I mean, like they're young adults. Like we've all been 20. We've all been 20. We've all been 22, 21. And we don't necessarily do the most sound things. All I'm telling you is that by doing that, you lend yourself to mistakes. The mistakes are going to happen. They're just going to happen. Like I don't. He's not immune. Like stars die every day. Bad things happen to stars. Bad things happen to regular people. But at the end of the day, we're all people, and he's going to make a mistake. I don't want to write the kid off. I just hope that, like I said, he deals with adverse situations like that better in the future than he did right now. Because right now, that wasn't a good look. Going back and forth, at the combine, then he got to go, deal with this. Where I guarantee if he would have dealt with it head on, he wouldn't have had to do all that going back and forth. He would have been able to just focus on his future versus dealing with his past because he didn't deal with it in the correct way. So I definitely, and that's pretty much is what it is when it comes to that.
I mean, I understand all that, but it's like I said, it doesn't absolve him of culpability.
No.
And it just doesn't. I mean, I understand. I mean, believe me, I've done some stupid things. I'm talking about past stupid things. When I was younger, I did, and I understand. I understand that, but that does not diminish the culpability on his behalf for leaving the scene of that crime. I can remember the unfortunate accident that took place with Henry Ruggs, where I think that alcohol was a part of it, probably a big part of it, but where tragically someone lost their lives, and where they were also racing. And speeding at 100 and some miles an hour. And
that's a young dude with a lot of money. That's all I'm saying. We got to understand that these people have a lot of money. And one thing that you always taught me was that money, all it does is bring out what's in you. Whatever's in you, money's going to bring it out faster because there's no roadblocks between whatever you're trying to do and whatever you have. So that's it. I mean, at the end of the day, he wasn't going home studying the playbook. He was out living life the way that he viewed it. And he made a mistake. And he's paying for that mistake. You know what I'm saying? But that stuff happens to regular people. It happens to everybody. Everybody deals with that. But in other news, though, we actually, because my man Keith up here, he was talking about baseball because it is going into baseball season. And our previous show, Keith, I want you to check out our previous show because we just went over the new rule changes for 2023, and how excited I am and we are for what's coming up. Because ultimately, it shouldn't take 4 hours to play a game. It shouldn't take 3.5 hours to play
Mm,
a game. It's
no.
supposed to take, 2.5, like, kind of like an NBA game or like a football game. It should be exciting. It should be entertaining. It's not exciting or entertaining to watch somebody go in and out of the batter's box 50 times at one at bat. One at bat can take 20 minutes. That's not exciting. But at the end of the day, what they're doing right now with the pitch clock and what they're doing with the shift, I believe, will add some excitement to the game. With that being said, though, a historic franchise like talking to you, they had some of your favorite players from the 70s and the early 80s on their team, and that would be the Oakland Athletics. Are pondering a move out of the Oakland area that they've been for a while into Las Vegas. And that I know that kind of tugged on some heartstrings for you because, like I said, you have a tie to them. So what would you think about that if they move from Oakland out to Vegas? I mean, what would you think about that?
I mean, when I was a kid, when I was a young kid in the '70s, the Oakland A's filled a team of all stars. It was also an all star at every position. They had some of the most greatest and iconic players in Major League Baseball history on it. And I can remember them winning 3 straight World Series, and I must have been, like I said, I was really young. It's one of the greatest teams of that I ever seen. To hear them moving the baseball team out of Oakland, which is a city of roughly around 430,000 people, and knowing how rabid that fan base is for the A's as well as the Raiders, it's just troublesome to me. I hate to hear that. I know how it is for a community to be robbed of its team because it happened to me when Cleveland, my Cleveland Browns left in the '90s. And I know that this has got to be really, really heartbreaking to them.
Yeah, I mean, but
Period.
ultimately, like I said, when we were talking before, kind of pre-show, that yeah, I think it's a sign of demographic. I mean, I think it's a sign of the sports city that is there. Like how much do fans, are they really there? And in the infrastructure, I mean, you got, they don't have any money. I mean, they got the worst stadium in baseball. I mean, Vegas is offering them all type of opportunity. I know they're going to build a great stadium out there. Like they said, it has to be a retractable dome because of the temperature in the summer. But at the end of the day, I mean, I don't see the downside to them moving to Vegas outside of them leaving Oakland. And here, they're not the first team to leave Oakland. I mean, the Warriors left. Now they're over across the bridge, and the Raiders are gone. They went to Vegas, and now the A's will go to Vegas. I mean, and I just think that that's a sign of the city and kind of where it's at. You know what I'm saying? I mean, Oakland. I mean, the Warriors knew they had to move. I mean, if they wanted to build Chase, was it Chase Stadium or whatever it is, that
Hmm.
they knew they couldn't build that in Oakland. They had to build it over across the bridge. And then that's just what it is. I know that to me that bridge is like symbolic. The money is over there, and the struggle is on the other side. You know what I'm saying?
Right. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that the Warriors were in San Francisco before, um, where the A's have always been a part of Oakland.
Hmm.
So I think that is different in that way. Also, when you're talking about owners or ownership, um, we're talking about dollars and cents.
Hmm.
Um, that plays a big part in this. Oakland is a city that has long stood against taxpayer money going to build a stadium for owners. Um, and I admire that in some ways. Why should they divert tax money? property tax money away from the school systems or the roads or wherever it would leave a deficit in. To me, that's the quandary. I look at again my experience being a Cleveland Brown fan, and the reason that they left was because of the lack of participation from city council and the government here in Cleveland to build or to furnish them a new stadium, which Baltimore was willing to do.
They had to do it.
Right. Well, holding the question begins to be, are the teams beholden to the city that they've prospered in and their fans, or are they only beholden to freebies, and which is ultimately welfare to the rich to me?
But I don't view it that way. I just view it as opportunity. I mean, it's opportunity for the fans as well. Now, it's not the fans of Oakland. Obviously, the Oakland people are not in Vegas. But at the same time, if the franchise has better opportunities in Vegas, and me and you both know they're going to be better funded out there. They're going to have a better stadium out there, and whoever their fans are going to make the trip. They just are. You know, I mean, like the Raiders fans made the trip to Vegas. I mean, it's not down the street, but again, they made the trip. So all I'm saying is that I don't really see the downside from a team that plays in the most dilapidated stadium in Major League Baseball. That makes no sense at all. Like, why wouldn't you go to Vegas? You know they're going to show them a good time. You know they're going to make a spectacle out of it. You know, like if you had any type of semblance of getting back to relevancy, that would be it. And the A's have done a pretty good job, like of fielding a semi-competitive team over the past decade. So it's not like, you know, they wouldn't be able to use the bump that they would get from playing in the Vegas. You know what I'm saying? I mean, playing in Vegas, I mean, it's big time. I mean, just look at the Raider Stadium, for instance. I mean, that stadium is state of the art. And I guarantee you that the A Stadium is going to be state of the art. It's going to be a nice venue, and I think that, you know, the players would like to deserve that, and their fans. I mean, they're not going to lose the fans. Like the fans. If you were an Oakland A's fan all your life, you're still going to be an Oakland A's fan.
And see, I find that statement not to be true because like I said, I have lived it. No, I never turned into a Baltimore Raven fan. That was never going to happen. That was never going to happen in my eyes.
So, but what that had happened? But what that had happened if the Browns didn't come back?
No, it never would have happened. It literally never would have happened.
No scenario.
Never. There is no scenario in my mind that I could ever see myself rooting for the Baltimore Ravens or for a football team that left here to go to Baltimore. Let's put it like that. No, there's no way.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, that's not the A's. Well, here, let me give you a little history of Oakland too, though. Okay, Al Davis had been he had been using the Raiders and the fandom that started in Oakland, which is huge. The Oakland Raiders are one of the most storied franchises in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And they were and always have been. But the city of Oakland is what put that. They started it. The Raiders is theirs.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the A's.
But okay, the A's, if what you're saying is true, I don't understand, why are the Raiders in Vegas then?
The Raiders are in Vegas now because Vegas would build a stadium for them.
So why wouldn't Oakland do it if they care so much about their Raiders? Their Raiders are such of a cultural, you know, stampede.
But the the culture that the city of Oakland is going to miss out on, the downtown district, the small businesses right around the stadium, they deserve all of that fandom because they're the ones that created the whole franchise.
I understand, but I
Without
mean, I think
them,
you get to
they
a
have
point
nothing.
that if you were an operator, you would jump at the opportunity to go to Vegas. I mean, here, why would you stay in dusty Oakland and you could go to Vegas and get and build your whole legacy over there? It just
So,
makes no sense.
so that's like the argument. Why would you stay in Cleveland? Why are the Cavs here? Why are the Commanders in Washington? Why is there a football team in New Orleans?
Here, I mean, well,
I
okay,
mean,
but you brought the Browns up as an example. So bringing the Browns up, we can argue to say that the Browns are in Baltimore. These ain't the Browns, right? Ever since '99, that team has no soul. You know it don't. You know it has no soul. None. Zero. So what? Now what? Yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm just telling you that
what's your point?
it's more plausible to me by the day that if I was in A's ownership, I would try to move the team to Vegas so for better, like I said, for better opportunity, better visibility, everything. If they came with tax breaks, so be it. Because I'm telling you, if Oakland ain't gonna give you no support at all, especially if my team got taken from me, I don't have no sympathy for the city of Oakland. I ain't with no sympathy for me in Cleveland. They're losing every team they have. They have no team.
What do you want me to say behind that?
Nothing. There's
Right.
nothing to say.
That's not the way. That's not the way that I view sports teams.
But they're going to Vegas
because they have been supported. Both of those teams, the Oakland A's and the Raiders, have been supported by that fan base since they began playing professional sports there.
Yeah.
So therefore, they have built the wealth that the ownership groups there have.
I mean, they did, but every sports team does that, though. Every city of a sports team builds the wealth of the team that they host. I mean, I understand that, but so I don't understand like that argument. Like, yeah, of course.
Okay, so how much wealth do you need? Well, I mean, I don't No. The question is
every dollar. That's what I'm saying. Like every dollar. Like, you don't need some of the dollars. You want every dollar.
So in both of those situations, they have billionaire owners.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
That will not make the stadiums or arenas in a certain area because they don't get tax abatement, which is welfare for the rich. And there's another city out there that will build me a brand new stadium for free. So if that's your calculus for this, it makes no sense to be a fan. It makes no sense to be a fan.
Dad, I don't know if it's that simple. I believe that it comes down to the opportunity. Like I said, if the opportunities are not in Oakland, then why are they there? You see what I'm saying? If it's more opportunity in Vegas, why wouldn't you take your franchise that you paid for a franchise and you were a billionaire owner? Why wouldn't you take that possibility out to the desert if you're going to double what you can make? That makes zero sense. Just for the sake of staying in Oakland because you've always been in Oakland, nobody care about that. Art Modell didn't care about
even wait, hold on. No, it's not that no one cares about it. That's not a true statement, son. There are people that care passionately about it.
Yeah, but the people I'm talking about the powers that be, though. The powers that be care about the dollar. They don't care about, oh yeah, I know the history. They've been here all these years. I know this, I know that. I understand that. But they're gonna go wherever that dollar goes. And that dollar is in Vegas. It's not in Oakland. You can just look at Oakland. It ain't in Oakland. That's the reason, like I said, the Warriors left, everybody left. They gone. So In other news, you know, I know we talked about this, and I've always said I'm not the biggest UFC fan. You know, I watch from time to time, but not the biggest one. But I thought that it was a pretty big accomplishment, you know, just watching John Jones go up to the heavyweight division and still be able to dominate. It's like every time I see his name, like on a headline while I scroll on ESPN or something, he's always winning. No, but you know, I mean, there's always some controversy, like you know, maybe you know, a legal case or drugs, something like that. It's always something, but he always wins. I mean, is that amazing to you, or is it just him doing what he do? I guess.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing. And I'm going to go ahead and explain how amazing it is in my best way, and hopefully you all be able to follow me. We're talking about a guy that's 35 years old that hasn't fought in 3 years. We're also talking about a guy that's had his run-ins with the law that's led to him being suspended. Then he has a drug addiction problem, which has led him to be suspended. So we're talking about a guy that's 35 years old, and during his time fighting in MMA, he's been suspended multiple times and came back and won
Multiple times.
multiple times.
I mean, well, here I'm just like I said, just by reading, his only loss was disqualification.
Absolutely,
That was it.
yes. And his fights are not close.
Yeah.
He has dominated that sport since he started participating in it. And it's absolutely amazing that he has had all of these scenarios and situations in his life, and he's overcome them every time to become
Who he
the
is.
champion
Yeah.
that he is.
Even like so 35 is old in UFC world. Is that what it is, or is 35 still young enough to do what you need to do?
Um, the best way for me to equate it is boxing, and a 35-year-old boxer, of course, he's still he doesn't have the reflexes and you know the flexibility that he did when he was younger. So yes, I mean that is amazing that you got a 35-year-old that took off for 3 years, hasn't fought in 3 years, step back into the ring and become the heavyweight champion of the world like that. That's amazing. I mean, you're 40,
Exactly.
you know,
Man, man,
so therefore,
wait, hold
no. Well, I'm
on.
just saying. I mean, you know,
Man, I'm
man, come on,
35.
man. Okay,
Wait. Time out. For the record, guys, I'll be 40. Ain't 40 yet.
you'll be 40. Well,
I'll be 40.
see, well, I wasn't giving away your age then. How's that? But no, you know that you get little aches that you didn't get before, and all of this and all that. And you know it's a difference between being 20 and being 35. That you know.
Yeah, because you know I run every morning. I'm telling you, some days I wake up and my hip just don't. It just don't. I don't know. It don't do what it do, man. Sometimes I wake up, it just ain't right.
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes my foot go the other way. I'll be like, "What's going on, man?"
Sometimes your thinking goes the same way.
Hey, see, that's what I'm talking about. See? We always end up at this. We always end up at this.
At the pass, right?
Yeah, we always end up at this. But I mean, here, hey, Dad, man. Here, I know, you know, that's what I was just thinking about as I was reading through the notes, man. But like I said, I knew this show would be a blast. I knew I would, you know, have fun, you know, putting this together with you. I always have fun putting this show together with you. Anybody that's out there watching, just subscribe, guys, because we're definitely my dad. You know, he has me focused. We're going to come to you guys, you know, every Tuesday with a live show. Podcast will come that evening, so there will be a podcast based on this show that will come out. Like I said, this evening, and you know, just be more content to come. That because I know I want to dig into your mental Rolodex about like the historical NBA, historical NFL, like all time things, like what you think about certain things. And we're going to bring in guests that can also speak to that as well, so that we can have a pretty big discussion about those things. And those are the conversations I always love to have with you, even like back in the day, and I still would like to have them with you going forward. So if all is the same to you, I would say that we'll be good until next Tuesday, Pop.
Absolutely, man. And everybody out there, thank you for allowing us to come into your households and to your vehicles, and for you all to give us some attention and some likes, please. And we love you. We appreciate you, and we're going to try our very best to do the best we possibly can. So you take care, and God bless.
Yeah. God
You know?
bless, guys. Good job, Pop.
Hey, man, that was fun, man. You know what? And see, we were talking about John Jones. You had cut me a little short.
Yeah, I did.
No, let me tell you why. See, you remember that conversation we had earlier this morning
Uh-huh.
about Little Paul?
Mm-hmm.
John Jones ain't never had that problem.
Well, I don't know, but you don't know that though. You don't know. I
No,
mean,
I know he did that. Come on, man.
He
He
might
is
have got
man.
his apple taken. You never know. He might have got bullied in school. You don't know.
Man, come on, man. He might have got the first bullying, but that was it.
And then something snapped. He's like, wait a minute.
And then something snapped and said, no. Maybe his dad whipped his butt when he got his butt whipped or something. I don't know. But see, he's just that man. When he stepped into the arena, stuff changed.
Yeah. Hey, so here, so Auntie said we still live. All right, so we got to get off. I will make sure that
Well, thank God we weren't cursing or nothing or anything like that.
Hey,
and I'm sorry for bringing up Little Paul. Hey, Little Paul, I didn't need no hard.
Hey, just for everybody that's still watching, it was gonna turn that way. See, that's what I'm saying. See, these conversations that we try to capture, it was turning that way.
Right. This is Paul and Little Paul. And this is the way we do it.
this is how we do it.
Right, this is the way we roll.
All right, well, I will. Let me get up here and holler at these kids, man. Reed up there got a million questions for me.
Oh, absolutely.
And then I know Chase, I gotta check his little homework or whatever.
Right.
And then I gotta pick Paulie up from track.
From
there. So like I said, shout out to everybody that's watching. Everybody that listens. Appreciate you guys. Peace.
Appreciate you, man. God bless.